In these two cardboard boxes, there is a boat that is capable of traveling hundreds, if not thousands of miles, catching every different fish species you can imagine, and giving you some of the best memories you can have with your friends and family. If you don't believe me, have a look back through some of my previous videos. But today I'm going to be unboxing this SIB and setting it up for you. The boat that I'm going to be unboxing today is the Maelstrom 380 HD. What that essentially means is it's a 3.8 meter long inflatable boat with an aluminium deck. So we've got the aluminium deck in this box here and the boat itself in this box here. We're going to get into the opening now. You're going to need a sharp knife, but be careful when you're opening these boxes. Obviously you don't want to cut too deep and puncture your brand new boat. All right, let's open up and see what we've got inside. All right, let's unravel the boat. It's a pretty big one and it is fairly heavy. I think the boat without the floor weighs in at around sort of 40, 50 kilos. So it's a pretty big lump, but oh, I do like orange. This is nice. This is nice, even when it's covered in plastic still. I was speaking to Mike, the owner of Maelstrom, about different colors, and we thought, let's try orange, you know, something a bit different, bit bright and visible, and that does look really nice actually. What do you get in the box? Apart from the boat, you're also going to get a foot pump, which, as we're going to find out, is not the most effective tool for the job. 2 aluminium bench seats, 2 aluminium paddles, and in this tube is the repair kit. So I'll just show you what's inside this repair kit. You get a valve wrench for tightening your valves. If you're losing air in a new boat, I guarantee you it's because the valves aren't done up tight. You're going to get some of this glue. This stuff's actually pretty good for putting on emergency patches because it's just one part and it dries really quickly. And then we're also going to get, if we can get it out, we're going to get a load of these patches which are in the color of the boat. So if we do get a puncture, we can stick those over the top of it. So that is what you get inside the box. If we come down to the valve here, we can see the maximum inflation pressure written here. This is the valve cover. And if we rotate the valve and press slightly counterclockwise, the valve is now closed. Really, when you're using a pump, you want to be pumping it up with the valve closed. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but what it means is when you take the pump fitting out, all the air isn't going to leak out. If we press the valve in and turn clockwise, the valve is now open and all of the air will come out. So we're going to close each of the valves. There's one there. If we come over to the other side here, there's another one here. That one's already closed. And the same with that one is closed, so that when we pump up the boat, the air isn't going to leak out as soon as we take off the fittings. So before we install the deck sections, we're going to go around to each of the tubes and put a little bit of air into them. This is going to give the boat a rough shape and make the whole process of sliding the deck in all that bit easier. The first piece that I'm going to put in is the easiest, the bow, and it's fairly obvious on this one which orientation it is. This is the smooth side, so it's going to be facing down. And then this is a textured grippy side, so we want that facing up. And then it's got this channel here to slot in to the next section. This is where having a bit of air in the tubes is going to help, because it gives me a bit of wiggle room to get the deck section in. And we have to pull back on the fabric because we want this sitting right down in the grooves, and I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so you can see how I've got it in here. We have the inflation valve for the keel here lined up with the hole, and then if I peel back the sides, hopefully you can see how the edges are sitting inside the crease there on the seam. We don't want the edges sitting and trapping on the tube material. Now it is going to be really tight on a brand new boat. So what you can always do is get your sections lined up like this. And because there's still a little gap up in the bow there that I can't really push the boards into, I've got my steel toe cap boots on and I'm just going to give it a little kick, and it's moving that deck board up into position. We can see it's pretty much perfect there on the, there we go, on the inflation valve. So that's in the right spot. We can go and get those two boards in now. So the final step for getting these boards sitting nicely is we have tucked the stern board under these tabs that are on either side, and that's going to keep it planted. And then there's a bit of an arch like that. You see there's a bit of a gap, but all we're going to do now is step inside the boat and just stand on it. We're just using our own weight to flatten all these boards out, okay? So we'll probably just have to go into the corner here and untuck some of the material. It's probably just got caught up in the boat. That's fine. There we go, that one popped in. There we go, that's that side. Happy days. And then we come and do the same on the other side. All right, so now the deck sections are in place. We've just got to put in the stringers to give it that nice structure. So these metal stringers are going to slot in along the side of the deck. And we're going to start up at the bow here. It's usually where it's the tightest, up here at the bow. We're going to, basically there's a lip on the deck board that's going to sit in the groove of these stringers. And they should go in fairly smoothly, he says. And you've got to remember that when we inflate the boat to the correct pressure, it's all going to change the shape of it. So if it's just a little bit loose and unaligned right now, it doesn't matter as long as it all comes together nicely when you're inflating. That's something that we're going to check for later on. So I like to go down and do the stringers side by side. Obviously you've got a angled side that's going to go against the tube, and then a flat side that's going to sit against the deck. Okay, that's the stringers in for one side. So now we'll take these and come to the other side. It's time for a bit of man versus machine. I'm going to be on the foot pump here. I've got my electric pump to 3.5 psi. I know the electric pump's going to get there before me, but let's just see what the time difference is. So we're going to inflate the side tubes, or the aftmost tubes first, and then we'll do the bow tube last. So that is the electric pump in the valve. And just remember, with these valves, you do have to screw the connection in. All right, foot pump ready to go. 3, 2, 1, go. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be fit after this. Who needs a gym membership when you've got a foot pump and an inflatable boat? Let's just take a little look around the boat. This is pretty much the same boat as I've used for the last year or so. It's got the same layout. The only thing that is slightly different, which we can't really see right now, is I did ask Mike if he could make the inflatable keel more of an aggressive V shape to try and get a little bit more speed out of it, maybe a little bit better performance. So it'll be interesting to see if we achieve that with this new design. But here it is in all of its glory. Let's go and have some fun. It took me 30 minutes to set this boat up from the box, but once you get used to the process, I'm sure you'll be able to get that setup down to around 20 minutes. And I cannot stress this enough, a good quality electric pump is going to be your best friend in this process, so I highly recommend you get one. That's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave a like and let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more SIB fishing content. Cheers.